Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence. Welcome back to another video. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate your time and your viewership. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a closer look at a brand that, well, this is actually the first time that I'm ever covering them on my channel. The brand is called La Maison de la Vanille, which means the House of Vanilla. And the name of the fragrance is Vanille Givree des Antilles. And the name translates to frosted vanilla from the West Indies. This is a gourmand fragrance with vanilla, tonka bean, apopanax, patchouli, orange, and I also get a little bit of a praline vibe. I'm very excited to give you my thoughts on this fragrance, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin this review and I tell you all about this fragrance, what it smells like, the performance, so on and so forth, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, if you like reviews, top 10s, giveaways, unboxings, and more, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. Make sure to enable notifications by clicking on the bell, and of course, like this video if you like this type of content. So this fragrance is available at fragrancebuy.ca, a fantastic website to use if you are looking for niche and designer fragrances with a really good price tag. And this one is very inexpensive, which I was really surprised by. I looked this fragrance up online and I looked at a lot of the ingredients, and it has the vanilla, the sweet myrrh, otherwise known as apopanax, the tonka bean. Has a little bit of like a praline vibe as far as my nose can detect. So after picking up on all of those ingredients, I thought to myself, this is one I have to pick up because I really want to see if the comparisons are true. People are comparing it to another popular designer fragrance that's marketed for women. So I'm excited to give you my thoughts on it. Let's start things off with the presentation. So right in the opening of this fragrance, you are going to get the sweet nuances with the patchouli. So it's kind of earthy. You have the patchouli in the base, but you also have this large heaping dose of vanilla. And the vanilla that's in here is very smooth, very easy to get along with. It doesn't have any rough edges. It's not like a bourbon vanilla either. So it's very smooth, just sort of casually residing in the base. But you do have that earthy texture in here, which kind of jumps out at you. And it's like, whoa, like this is going to be a dense, heavy fragrance, and indeed it does last a pretty long time. Now there are some ingredients in here that maybe sort of contradict that sweet sort of Eastern quality that you're going to get from this fragrance. So perhaps you have a little bit of the lavender and the orange, and I'll be honest with you, I don't get a whole lot of lavender from this one. I think that this is very base heavy, and in my opinion it has been a very linear fragrance. So here's the thing. People online are comparing this one to Angel by Thierry Mugler, the women's version. Now it's funny because when I picked this fragrance up, I did not look at any of the comparisons online. I sprayed it on the test strip, smelled it for the first time, and I said, this smells like Angel Men by Thierry Mugler. And of course I own Angel, and I have the Eau de Toilette, and I have the Comet version, and I have some of the special collector's editions. I'm very familiar with the smell of Angel. I think this smells kind of like a balance between the men's and the women's version, but also leaning a little bit more in the direction of the men's version. So here's the thing. As I smell this fragrance, not only do I think it's a really good alternative to Angel Men by Thierry Mugler, the original, but I think it's also a really good alternative to Intoxicated by Kilian Paris. So Kilian Paris has a fragrance called Intoxicated, which in my opinion has that earthy, spicy, patchouli, vanilla vibe in there. And I think that this does that same thing. Now, in terms of the apopanax that's in here, I don't think it's too strong. I can see where it is, and I'm sure it has a significant contribution to the olfactive pyramid, but when I think of other apopanax fragrances like Jubilation 25 by Amouage, this one is no comparison. I don't really get apopanax from this one. Vanilla, yes, and a little bit of that praline vibe in the base that is almost adding this caramel-like sweetness to the fragrance. Now, the reason why I say this kind of reminds me of Angel Men by Thierry Mugler is first because the memories came to me immediately and I made that olfactive, connection right away. But also in the case of Angel Men, a lot of people say it contains this tar note. And as soon as I smelled this fragrance, I also picked that up in here too. So there is some underlying ingredient that is kind of like dark and earthy and like a little, I don't want to use the phrase hard to get along with, because I do find this to be a very accessible fragrance. However, if you're used to your freshies like Dylan Blue and Bleu de Chanel and Dior Sauvage, this is not going to be up your alley. But if you are a fan of the original Amen or even Angel for Women by Thierry Mugler, if you like sweet fragrances on the market, if you like fragrances by Lempica, for example, I think you'll really enjoy this one. And for the price, I think this is a great alternative to Intoxicated by Kilian Paris. And so if you are looking for something that is a bit more budget friendly and you're familiar with those other fragrances to which I made comparisons, definitely check this one out. I think it might be up your alley. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell is great. I just don't think it's that unique. I think it does smell quite similar to Angel Men and Angel for Women, as well as Intoxicated by Kilian Paris. So it does sort of convey a vibe that I've smelled before, but I think the overall smell is really pleasant. I really do enjoy the way that this one smells, and Amen is one of my favorite designer fragrances in the world. And so it goes without saying that when I made that connection, it was a very strong connection, and it is one that I did not second guess myself over. In terms of the longevity, 7 hours on your skin. The projection is great for the first hour to hour and a half of application. It didn't start to sit closer to the skin until about that 6 hour mark, so the performance is pretty good. In terms of the versatility, I think this one is good for the colder weather. Wouldn't wear this one in the summertime. I think this one can be worn dressed up or dressed down. I think it is perfectly unisex, and I think somebody who's a little bit younger will probably enjoy this fragrance a little bit more. Of course, if you're a little bit older, even in the case of like Amen flankers, I would recommend Pure Wood or Ultra Zest or some of the other fragrances that are not nearly as sweet as the original Amen. So I think this one is geared more towards somebody who's a little bit younger, somebody who has an affinity for sweeter fragrances. And of course, in terms of the presentation, very simple, cylindrical bottle, simple label on the front, wooden cap. My final verdict on this fragrance is this is a great alternative to Intoxicated by Kilian or Amen by Thierry Mugler. If you are a fan of vanilla, patchouli, spicy, praline, caramel, earthy types of fragrances, if you're familiar with the smell of Angel and Amen and also Intoxicated, you're looking for something that's very budget friendly, you like gourmand perfumes, definitely check this one out. I think it'll be to your liking, and I hope you love it. So again, you may pick this one up at fragrancebuy.ca. All of the links are going to be down below for easy access. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you took something of value from this review. If you did, please do consider showing your support by clicking on that subscribe button. Make sure to enable notifications by clicking on the bell, and make sure to like this video if you like this type of content. Thanks again for watching. Love you all. We'll see you next time. Bye.